Okay, welcome to the Ultrarunning Sam Podcast, but with difference.
Yeah, welcome to the Ultrarunning Sam Podcast. We have here our podcaster in residence for the Spine Week. Bringing you all the updates from the inside.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. This is obviously the best time of the year, favourite week of the year, Spinemas, as I like to call it. So the purpose of this podcast in residence basically is that all through the week we're going to be bringing you interviews, behind the scenes interviews on course possibly, with all the runners, and also sort of behind the scenes with people involved with the race, and trying to sort of put out some content as the week goes on. What do you think that we're going to achieve with this, Will?
I think you are going to gather a lot of epic stuff over the next week. We've got an incredibly exciting set of races. We've got some very spiny conditions, and I'm looking forward to what you get up to, pal.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. So this is it. Stay tuned, and every couple of days we'll be putting out a podcast, hopefully, and just see what the week brings. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thanks. Right, we have the boss man with us. So Phil Hayday Brown, welcome to the Ultrarunning Sam takeover of the Spine race, as far as podcasts go anyway. So welcome to your own race.
Well, thanks for it's good to be here.
Brilliant. So I know you've spoken openly about what you wanted the Spine race to become, and what you originally envisioned for the race, which was like an Arctic expedition. Yeah. And looking at the conditions and the weather that we've got this weekend, do you feel like it's now finally fulfilled?
Well, all I want to do is strap my skis on and head out into the hills. It is like that. Yeah. And most of the route you could do like that, which is just, that was the vision back in the early days. Whereas, we were soon brought back to the real world and it's all mud and bog. But this one's looking like it's we could be in the Arctic.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. What are the conditions going forward? Has anyone told you about the weather going forward and whether it's
I've been looking closely at the weather going forward. It's going to be cold tonight. It's going to be cold tomorrow and tomorrow night, below zero. So that'll be a challenge for the Challenger South guys. Sunday it starts to warm up, and that's all the way up the trail. And by midweek it's going to be like 9 degrees.
Ooh,
so everything's going to be melting. So that'll bring other challenges further into the race. I'm sure on the tops it probably won't be that different. It'll just be wet snow instead of this crispy hard stuff at the minute. It's going to be but apart from that, the weather seems stable. There's no massive winds forecast. It's not going to be bad weather. It's just getting through what we've had so far with all this deep snow. It's going to be hard going. I'd rather be at the back, just following the well-trodden trail. The guys at the front are going to be breaking trail and through deep snow. So it's going to be a challenge.
It is, and that is the allure of the Spine race, isn't it? The fact that you've got the weather can be against you as well as the terrain. But the Spine has got the reputation of being Britain's most brutal race, and for good reason. Do you ever worry though when you get sort of coming into the race every year that could the weather ever be so bad that things take a turn for the worse?
Well, every year I'm at home, through the silly season, just watching what the weather's doing, and because you can see what's happening over in the States, and that kind of generally meets us eventually about the tail end sometimes. I always get that little butterfly in the stomach, or that kind of knot. And when that knot goes, which is generally around Monday, when we leave kind of Hawes and go further north, and I can generally relax because we've got the Challenger South's finished, the sprint's finished, and all we're concentrating on then is the northern part of the trail, which is in some respects easier to get to for us. the getting from checkpoint to checkpoint is easier. But given the conditions, we'll be going over the tops and stuff. So yeah, it's gonna lend itself to who knows. But I do always worry what the weather's going to bring, and it's different every year. This is going to go down as the frozen, snowy year. And the year where it was tricky to get into checkpoints. It's trickier for us, I think, as well as the runners, because we're getting into some checkpoints is going to be quite hard this weekend. But we'll muddle through and we'll get in. Where there's a will, there's a way, and all that.
That's it. Is this sort of weather? Is this familiar to any of the other years where do you ever see like a pattern developing with the weather that you see at the start of the race and then it turns into something else?
Normally at the start of the race, it's the worst of the weather. And it's kind of what's going to happen again, because, the Challenger South guys are going to get the worst of it, because it's going to be colder, and they've got the deep snow to deal with. Whereas when the Spiners start on Sunday, it's going to be starting to warm up, which will bring melt, slush. I'm guessing on the tops there'll still be the deep powder snow. Oh, deep snow, not powder. But I would say the thing that happens all the time is the Challenger South guys always get it worse, and that's going to happen again. That seems to be the theme that runs through every year, we'll see what happens. That might be not the case, but it looks like it will be.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your favourite part of the race? Like, is it like the build up to the start, or do you is that too many nerves involved with that? Are you happier like towards the end of the race? Are you
Well, I think I've already kind of let loose what my favourite part is, and it's when we leave Hawes.
Yeah.
Because I don't know why it happens, but it's happened from right at the beginning, from early days. We used to get to Hawes, and after that it just felt easier.
Yeah.
Mainly because the Challenger South's finished, so there isn't as many people out. That's probably the reason why. I mean, now we still have quite a few people out, but I think it's stemmed from early days. I could relax, and I still do now. And that is my favourite part of the whole race, is when I'm driving away from Hawes, going up to Middleton. So.
Yeah, amazing. Obviously now originally there was just one race, wasn't there? And then the races have sort of grown as the race has sort of expanded over the years. Now we've got a new race, haven't we? Now we've got the Sprint North, haven't we? So what challenges are sort of in there for that?
Really, it should be the last one. It should be the last addition to it, because then everything's symmetrical. Then we have a long race, which is great, but we have a Challenger South and a Challenger North. We have a Sprint South, and now we're going to have a Sprint North. Yeah. And we've introduced it into the summer first, but we're getting Damien and Ellie to test it in the winter. So that should be quite fun. And they'll put a time down, and people can then, at least think, okay, well, they did it in this time in deep snow, and see what they can do in the summer. Yeah. So that should be it. I can't think of any other race that we can slip in. That is it.
Yeah. It makes.
I've said that on camera
now. It does make sense, though, doesn't it? Yeah, it's like you say, it's symmetrical, isn't it? And for people wanting to come and do the race and being, maybe being put off by the full distance and stuff, just being able to have like have a bite of each, and I always kind of sort of felt sorry for people that were that lived north of the border, having to come all the way down to go all the way back, sort of thing. So I suppose having those races, the North race, and then having the Sprint North it just makes sense, doesn't it? I
think so, and the Sprint North is another, dare I say it, entry level race into spine racing. But you are taking in the Cheviot as well, so it's a mountain race really, and so quite looking forward to it. It should be interesting what happens in summer, because there'll be more people on it, but it'd be interesting to see what Damien and Ellie do as well.
Awesome. So looking forward to seeing how the race pans out for everybody, and appreciate you coming and giving us a few minutes of your time, Phil. I know you're a busy man, so
it's not a problem at all.
Brilliant. Thanks, Phil. Cheers. Okay, Mark Derbyshire, welcome to the Spine Race Podcast. If we're calling it that, Will, are we calling it that?
Let's just say welcome to the Spine Racer now, and we'll figure out what the fuck this is later on.
It's a good name. You can go with that.
We'll go with it for now anyway. So how are you feeling? You've literally just done your kit check, haven't you? You were one of the unfortunate ones that managed to get a full kit check. So did everything go okay?
I passed everything. It was quite stressful trying to find where I'd hidden things at the bottom of the bag, and then it went all right. And they asked me about the sleeping bag and what type it was, and I didn't have a clue. I've just borrowed it off someone, so but it's all good. All good.
It was a good borrow though, wasn't it? It was from Damo.
It was a good borrow, so
It should be up to standard though. Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's his best one or not. Though. So he's probably got about 10 of them. Yeah.
He'll be keeping his best one for him, won't he? Yeah, for his race. Yeah. So you obviously. If you don't mind talking about the fact that originally you were going to do the full race, weren't you? And then you've not necessarily, it's not drop down, but you've changed your options, haven't you, to do Challenger South? What was this? What was the reasoning behind this?
A couple of reasons. So it's more within my comfort zone, the 100-mile distance. I've done it lots of times before, and I think to take on something that's like unsupported like this in winter, I think to go straight into something that's like 268 miles long is probably a bit daft. So I thought maybe do the 100 miler this year, with maybe the idea of going into the full one next year and doing the north section next year, and then the year after doing the full one. I've also had gallstones, which has affected my health a little bit the last couple of months. So again, it's kind of that played into it a bit, but I'm all right now. Seems to be all right. So there's no excuses. If this doesn't go well, it's not because of my gallstones. It's just because I've froze on the Pennine Way.
So it sounds like it was a wise decision then to change to Challenger South. Then, so have you managed to get out on the course and get recce in and stuff?
Yeah. So about a month ago, me and Dave Phillips came up and ran the last 100 kilometres of the course, so from Hebden Bridge to the finish.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's what persuaded him to sign up last minute to the full spine. He got itchy feet and signed up a few weeks later. Yeah. So I've seen most of the course. I think I did the first 20 miles as well a few years back, just as a sort of training run. So the bit I won't have seen is like the sort of 20-30 miles into Hebden Bridge.
Yeah. It's fairly on that, it's not particularly challenging.
No,
you'll be fine. A man of your calibre, you should be absolutely fine.
Yeah. The bit that's worrying me a bit is the Penny Ghent at night bit, when it's going to be -9, -10 maybe.
Yeah. So from my experiences of going over there, I went over in broad daylight, and it was it's a bit of a scramble to get up there. Yeah. But you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You'll be okay. Yeah. What bits are you kind of? Are there any bits that you're dreading or not looking forward to, or bits that you're really looking forward to seeing?
I'm just looking forward to getting out into the snow, having the adventure, the whole thing. Really. I mean, I'm kind of pleased the weather's how it is. It's going to be cold, but it's not going to be raining. I don't think it's going to be clear at night. So. Hopefully see the stars, the moon, and should be alright. Yeah, I mean, you could get full clag and rain and not see a thing for the whole 25 hours or however long it's going to take. So
you're giving me FOMO now, like remembering those completely black nights and watching the stars.
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, well. Is everything sort of gone to plan as far as like training and getting ready for it? And I know you obviously said that you've had some illness, but you're feeling good and ready to go.
I've had probably 5 or 6 weeks of sort of high mileage, so 100-mile-ish weeks. So I tend to want to, my easy miles are just running to work and back. So it's kind of probably 5 miles there, and then I do a little bit extra on the way home, maybe a mile or 2 extra on the way home, just to build the easy mileage. It's been alright. Christmas came along and I've got 3 kids, so it was a busy time and quite a big family, so we were going various places, so I didn't train as much when I was off work as I did as when I was working, which is a bit odd, isn't it? But
good taper though.
Good taper, few too many beers and mince pies, but it's all right.
Amazing. Have you got any sort of ambitions with time or anything like that, or you just try to suck it and see kind of thing?
Yeah, it's difficult to say because I don't really know what it's going to be like when you get on the tops and how deep the snow is. I mean, I was hoping for a pretty fast time. I feel like I'm in good shape for a pretty fast time. But yeah, it's so much of it depends on the conditions, doesn't it? If it's nice hard packed snow, then that could be possible. If it's like fresh snow to my knees, then it's going to be a slog, isn't it? Yeah. But you have to adapt, and it'll be fun, whatever. Hopefully. Yeah.
And everyone's got the same conditions.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
It's a level playing field, as they'd say. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, appreciate you coming in and giving us 5 minutes of your time and just having a chat and letting us know how you're feeling with the race coming up tomorrow. And we wish you all the best and look forward to seeing how you do.
Thanks, Sam. Thanks for having me on, mate. Cheers.
Right, Jack Scott, returning champion. How does it feel coming back to your race?
It was a bit emotional driving down, even though it was pitch black and extremely icy, driving down the hill into Edale under the shadow of darkness. It's amazing to be back in the environment. Got plenty of coaching clients out on the Pennine Way this weekend. Yeah, it's class to be back, and the conditions are interesting.
Yeah. So you come back as the reigning champion. Yep. How are you feeling sort of towards the race now, a year later?
I don't know. I was thinking, am I envious? Do I want to be back out there this time? The answer is no. Like I said, I'm in the area because of relationships with clients who I need to get onto the start line, then up the Pennine Way. But it's been a crazy year for sure, and I'm happy to take a side step or a back step this year. But the race is very much in my thought pattern, and the way I ran the race last year is very much in my psyche. Every day, I guess, in a weird way.
So how has this sort of transferred to, you mentioned that you've got, is it 15 clients running the different races? How was your sort of experience informed how they're approaching this weekend?
It's someone they can trust at the end of the phone to talk about anything and everything. And remember, I failed at this race in 2020, which is probably more relevant for a lot of the people I deal with that might not be running 80 hours or 75 hours. So I've seen it from every single side of the coin, and it's just an amazing opportunity. I've said on social media yesterday, I think, look at the clock as opportunity, look at the clock as a chance to advance, stay in the race, and can you deal with the slow, stagnant clock? And if you can, you should have a chance. I'm just in the rears. We're prepared. Some of them it's taken 3 years, some of them have 6 months, but they're all ready to rock and roll, as I'm sure everyone else is. Yeah,
brilliant. So you've come to the race to basically to help out this year, haven't you? You're going to be, what are you going to be doing for the Spine race while you're here this weekend?
Well, we'll see what opportunities manifest themselves with conditions, with race pace, front, middle and back, and I'm just here to give my opinion on whatever Will ask me, or whatever you ask me. An honest opinion off the cuff, I guess, without a script, because every single year is different. And like coming back for me, my own experiences from 2020, DNF, go away, listen, learn, come back, finish the race, and then come back and race it last year. But I think if I had these conditions and I was here to race it and I'd not ran 72 hours, I don't know how I'd be feeling tonight and tomorrow. So the athletes have got a really interesting dynamic, how these conditions are, like if you're running to a schedule in these conditions, you're a lunatic, because it's really dangerous and interesting up there. You've got to run the mile you're in, run the extremity you're in, get to the next question, I suppose. Don't be thinking too far ahead. If you're worried about the snow on Crossfell, worry about the snow on Bleak Low, for sure. A hell of a lot of miles to cover before you get to there.
Yeah, when I turned up...
Don't save your best kit for 200 miles into the race. Put it on it now.
Yeah, use it straight away. Yeah, I was when I came into Edale this afternoon, and just it looked like coming to the Alps, like just seeing the snow on all the hills. It's definitely going to be challenging for him, isn't it? Because obviously last year you had snow, but it was kind of like frozen, so you could probably get a good footing on it. But this talk of it warming up as the week goes on. So how do you think that this weather that we've got now, and then as it warms up, how do you think that's going to affect people's progress as they get up the course?
Again, we can talk about hypothetical situations. Monday afternoon, Monday evening into Tuesday, I think might even be like 11 degrees up around Alston, which is interesting. But the athletes in the front, the middle and the back, they need to focus on the next 5 hour stint, and not worry about conditions further up the way, because there's absolutely no guarantees that you'll get to Hawes, you'll get to Tan Hill, you'll get up and over the common there at day 66. You've really got to, if conditions were cold and hard and fast like maybe we had last year, you could break it down into 3 or 4 sections of the race. But with the conditions we've got here, I think you're going to have to break it down into a marathon distance. Flip it, 10 marathons. How are you going to deal with that? Every single twist and turn could be different. And when it does thaw out, the amount of snow I've seen earlier on running in Staffordshire Moorlands, I still think there's going to be significant over Great Shunnafell, over Pennygant, over Crossfell, and then the flooding and the thaw is going to affect the farmland, which is going to be slow, and if people don't look after their feet, then they're going to be in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely could be conditions for the old spine blisters to come out. Absolutely, yeah.
And if I was going into the race with what we've had here, and what I'm trying to preempt with my clients is, we've got a plan in an ideal world, but we've had such an extremity of weather that you're going to have to think outside the box with this. And we're talking about sock changes and looking after your feet, doing the fundamentals, but you're going to have to add another layer of specificness to that and protect what you've got, because it's going to be slower than we thought, and it's going to be more difficult.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're obviously aware of the people in this year's race, and you've raced against them, raced with them, ran with them.
Yeah.
What are your sort of hot takes on who's going to do well this year, or who you hope to do well?
I think John Kelly stands out as the front candidate for the males, and I think he's due a performance. I think he's possibly running on frustration slightly after the DNF, the Tour de Giants, the DNF in January here, and an athlete who's got his talent, he is supreme, that runs on frustration. Damien ran on frustration in 2023 when we raced, because he DNF'd in 2022. Maybe I ran on a slight frustration in 2023 to do what I did in 2024, and this is John's environment. He's an American, but he has got the fastest time on the way, which is an astonishing feat. I've done the maths and it is outstanding, and I can't comprehend it. So I'd say he's due a performance, and I believe he will perform. If he possibly stays away from that schedule idea and maybe runs away slightly differently, he's 100% got the attributes to win the race. I don't think we'll see a runaway leader unless there's carnage in the latter stages, maybe north of Hadrian's Wall. I think it'll be a closer race than in previous years. And I know there's a South African gentleman, or Guernsey resident, as Will's told me to say, Tian,
yeah.
I know he's ran the race in the summer. He's got the summer record of just under 71 hours, which is a complete contrast to what we've got at the minute. But his body and his brain have been through it on the Pennine Way, and he delivered when he needed to. And he ran that race, I believe, sort of solo at the front. He's got the credentials to do extremely well. I believe he's a smart runner, and you need to be patient, you need to be smart, and you need to hold on to any tiny comforts in a race like this. And I think, I know Kim Collinson's had a really good year. He's carrying momentum into the race, but it really is the sort of event that you need to have done and ticked off 268 miles in the dark to then come back and realise how you need to race it. So I suspect people who have done it before, finished, and then coming back, they'll have the credentials to race well, and that leads me into the women's race. Unfortunately, Claire Bamworth's not racing, which is a shame, because I thought it would be a really interesting dynamic. Although there's some, I think, faster females on the start line with Robin, with Imogen and some other, and Sarah. Claire has got the experience, and 9 times out of 10 you know what you're going to get. So that mixed with maybe the younger female runners, I thought that could have been a really interesting race dynamic. The female race is a flip of a coin. It's wide open, and it's going to be the people who break their races down into chunks get to Hadrian's Wall and see what state you're in. I think super excited to see the female race.
Yeah, it's, I think everyone's like you say, super excited to see what the women can do, because women's running, like trail running, ultra running, is just it's getting better and better every year, and they're getting the recognition that they deserve finally. So I think it's going to be, everyone's obviously watching the men's race as well, but the women's race is going to be the one to watch.
Absolutely.
For yourself then, finally, what will it take to bring Jack Scott back to the Spine?
I think it'll take like a moment in my own personal life where I need to come back, and I need to do something this long and this hard and this dark and as dark as this. And I'm not sure what that is right now. I'm not sure why would I come back and go through it all, although it's beautiful and brilliant. It's extremely dangerous and difficult as well, but I'd be looking for something, breaking a mould in day-to-day life, 9-to-5 life. That'll draw me back. And even if someone ran, like I said, 72 hours, if it doesn't feel right for me, I wouldn't come back, because it's just the way I want to run it is you've got to really want it, like, and there's got to be a real contributing factor, and for me right now that's just not there. So I'm not willing to go back on the start line, basically.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure everyone would love to see you back at the race. So not that we want you to have like a personal crisis in your life that brings you back, but
when I say that, I mean, like, I don't know if dynamics change. Like if we had a child and like my perspective on life changed, and like I just needed a massive, beautiful challenge, then like I'd turn back up and I'd run it. I'd forget what I've done in the past. Every single time you're on the start line, I'll be amazed, with the conditions as well. Like a professional like John Kelly is not thinking about his FKT, not thinking about his race win in 2020 when I DNF'd. Every single time you turn up, it's a fresh canvas. And those experiences that he's got, which will obviously amplify the way he wants to run, they should come to him at Langdon Beck. They shouldn't be in his psyche at Malham or Hawes. And the same for Tian. Someone like Simon Roberts who's finished the race before as well, and has maybe possibly run on frustration. There's loads of dynamics, and yourself, Sam, your mind goes to a funny place to get this one finished. And if you're not ready for that, you're not going to get where you want to be.
Absolutely.
No personal crisis.
No, we wouldn't wish that on you. Jack, we appreciate you coming and giving us a few minutes of your time. I know you're a man that's in demand, so we appreciate you coming in and having a chat, and look forward to sort of seeing what content you're going to be putting out and what you're going to be doing over the weekend, and everyone will see a lot more of you. So thanks for coming on, mate.
No problem. Cheers.
Louise Goddard, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling relaxed, quite focused, nervous, excited. I'm essentially running home.
Yeah.
I'm only going to Horse this time, which I say only, but it's still a long way. So I'm about an hour from home. So I've just said to my children, I'm on my way now. I'm running home. So yeah, I feel okay, I feel good.
Yeah.
It'll be different in the middle of it, but I feel good now.
Yeah. How are you feeling about conditions? Because it is perfect spine weather, isn't it, at the minute?
I think the temperature's great, the crispness is great. I think when it warms up later, we're going to get some really good views. I'm just going to be a little bit cautious because it's going to be really slippery underfoot, and sometimes it's really icy under a layer of snow. So I'm going to be quite cautious, but obviously go fast enough to keep warm.
Yeah, that's it. Have you got a sort of time you're expecting, or is it all gone out the window because of the conditions?
Yeah, when I did summer, I did from here to Hardrow in 32 hours, but it was torrential rain then, wasn't it? Which brought its own problems. It was really, really boggy, and it was just horrendous slipping and sliding. But this is going to be the same. I'd like to obviously get under the cut-off, which is 60, but I'd like to say around 40. But it's my last spine race this year, so I just want to finish it.
It's your last. What do you mean by your last one? You're never doing one again?
I'm going to do one again. It's we do have other things going on in life, and it's my daughter's GCSEs, so I can't go off recceing every weekend. I've got to kind of be around her until summer, so I'll volunteer, but then I'll come back to do the full next year.
Yeah.
It's the only one I haven't been able to complete.
Yeah.
So, and the North Sprint now, they keep adding them.
Yeah.
So it's, and then we'll do East to West.
I think Phil tells me reliably that there's no more races going to be added. So,
right,
so once you've done Sprint North, and
so we're not doing an out and back.
Yeah. Double spine.
Yeah.
Well, I suppose that could happen, maybe.
Yeah.
Awesome. Right, I appreciate you giving us a couple of minutes.
Oh, thank you. And everyone should, I'm 58. Please, ladies, don't think that you can't do it. You can. We're much better equipped than most men, to be fair.
Yeah.
Half the men here have got women running around after them. We don't. So sign up.
Yeah, good on you. Good
All
on
right,
you, Louise.
thank
Cheers.
you.
Andrew Holt, welcome to the Spine Podcast.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
Yeah, ready now, mate. Just want to get going.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. How do you feel about the weather?
Yeah, I think it's good. It's cold and dry, which is one thing, not much wind. So yeah, it's going to be icy, snowy. It's a bit of an unknown. But just got to roll with the conditions and adapt, here it comes.
How are you feeling about, because this is kind of unfinished business for you, isn't it?
Yeah, this has been the third try. I've not got further than Gargrave, so just willing to do what needs to be done to
get the job done.
Yeah. Small steps and don't think too far ahead.
Yeah. And you haven't got a buddy this time. You
No, solo this time.
So you haven't got him distracting you, telling that you need to stop and stuff. So
no.
Awesome. Have you got any ideas about time? Or are you just literally just going take it day by?
I'm there's 40 hours floating around in my head, but I think ultimately you can't fixate on the time because that'll mess with you if you start dropping. Got 60 hours.
Yeah, no,
so I can still move forward.
Exactly. Yeah, awesome. So, any bits that you're looking forward to or dreading?
No, not really. I'm looking forward to seeing Malham Cove because I've never done that bit. So, yeah, I think that'd be a nice little treat.
Yeah. Watch out for the ice on those rocks.
Oh yeah, and the limestone.
Slimy. Brilliant. Well, Andy, wish you all the best, and I don't want to keep you too long because it's cold. So,
All right, mate.
All the
Cheers,
best.
Sam, and I'll see you at finish.
Jack Scott, we are here at we've just seen Challenger South go off, haven't we? How are you feeling watching them run off into the distance?
Thankful that 10 minutes before the start of the race I could have a coffee and a cake this year and not be rushing around like a lunatic. Had a couple of chats with some clients who were racing today, speaking about a couple of top tips to deal with -9 and exposed conditions up on the top. You don't want any exposed skin, so there's a small gap between your sock and your legging that could cause a problem. It's very unlikely anyone's managed to train in these conditions to get that information, that confidence, so always lean on the shoulder of caution. And I think maybe you could break your race down into quarters, 106 or 7 miles, break it down into quarters, marathon distance maybe, but this year I think you're going to have to run the conditions you're in right at this moment and maybe look 5 kilometres, 10 kilometres ahead and do the basics. I think all race expectations and schedules have gone out the window, and just run the moment you're in and enjoy the beautiful landscape because it's going to change for the Spine races on Monday evening and Tuesday morning.
Yeah. Are you feeling a touch of FOMO seeing everybody go out?
No, that would be 3 in a row if I was on the start line, and that is too much for the brain, 100%, and definitely too much for the body as well. So it's just amazing to be here and be invested in the race with some clients and some friends, because it's the baddest of them all.
Yeah. So we've just seen Challenger South go off. Have you got any picks for the win of that? Because there's a few people in that race who are contenders. Think about like Mark Derbyshire. What's your sort of predictions for the race?
I think if Mark manages himself, does the basics, look after his layering system and his feeding. You remember the appetite can change in extreme conditions like this as well. If it was 5 degrees and raining, your appetite and your mind goes to different calorie amounts and different foods, and it's the same when it's so cold. So Mark would have to do that, keep on top of his layering system, and I expect Mark to be a runaway winner in the male race. The female race, I'm not too sure. I suspect that'll be tight. I don't think we're going to have record times because of the conditions. So people need to change their expectations, and usually when that's the case, the female athletes outperform the males. And to be honest, with the amount of snow that there is up and around there, some people are underestimating it, and I suspect we'll see some early DNFs.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's definitely going to be. I mean, this is just one race in the 4. Every race is different, got its own unique challenges, hasn't it? So we're sort of looking forward to the big one on Sunday, but let's not forget that we've got three other races going out, plus the MRT races as well.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good weekend, isn't it?
Yeah, certainly is. And you've got the people who are on the start line here. They're starting the journey with dreams of doing the full race. So it's a big emotion and a big burst of energy, and they've got to earn the stripes, and by getting to Halls this time and then getting further north next time.
Yeah, brilliant. Jack Scott, appreciate your words. Thanks
for tuning in to episode 1 of the Spine podcast, the Ultrarunning Sam podcast takeover residency, however we're calling it. I'll have figured it out by the end of the week, basically, what we're calling it. So that was episode 1. So look forward to episode 2, which will be uploading very shortly, and that will feature interviews from people doing the full race on Sunday morning. So stay tuned for episode 2.